Hello. Yeah, this is gonna be a new thing for me. First time I've ever done a Rezero and Rick and Morty review in the same breath. Yeah, I generally don't do this stuff a lot. Get a little closer. So I guess I'll do the Rick and Morty episode first, since I gotta do two Rezero episodes. First, the Rick and Morty episode. Rick goes on vacation. He decides to wipe his mind so he has a simple mind like everybody else. Just to put this plain and simple, this one actually had a different feel than say like any other episodes from the last two seasons. It kind of felt like it belonged like in the earlier seasons. And that's a good thing. Early seasons was exceptional. It's Rick and Morty at its best. Now, the only downside is we don't have Justin Roiland's improv. And yeah, that's kind of a downside. Yeah, Justin Roiland was very good at improvising, often because he was drunk, but it's beside the point. And yeah, actually, we saw Rick drunk quite a bit in this episode. Once again, a very good thing. As you know, in this episode, Rick wipes his mind, goes to a planet that everything's like 30 years ago, going to, well, I guess now what you call primitive bowling alleys. And, basically having a whole group bowling, like Big Lebowski style, where you used to have your five people you bowled with all the time. And apparently they're championship level since they had nothing but trophies around themselves. And Marjorie running the bowling alley. And eventually, Rick previously decided that he had to have a system where he can basically get himself out of that mentality so he can go back to being, well, Rick Sanchez on Earth. Now, I'm going to say this. Yeah, he's done this before. You ever watch Vindicators? Yeah. That was actually Rick versus Rick, where Rick comes up with a series of strategies to defeat himself in the future. And it's very hard for current Rick to deal with past Rick. I do love, though, the little twist here. They put it on vacation, which is something I'm actually happy they actually re-explored here. Overall, it was actually a pretty good episode. Not great, not the best, but just one of the few times where, like, the writing didn't get in the way of itself. Like I said, the last episode. Although I do have one little complaint with inconsistent writing. Once again, has to go with, well, the ending with the bowling alley group. Rick uses a time stop device. So I guess the Langoliers are plot convenience, aren't they? They only appear when the plot requires them to be. No, like, nobody put a bug on Rick or something? Morty didn't just blab it out that, wait, I got this idea from him? Evil Morty? Makes absolutely no sense. I do like the fact that Rick has a phone, an old-fashioned phone, in his leg. And Morty's more concerned about the leg phone than he is about Rick Sanchez's well-being. Or I'm going to phrase it, Ted. Yeah, Rick goes by the name Ted in this episode. A lot of interesting callbacks. Well, particularly when he's getting drunk in our planets. It is weird that there's actually a planet of Lilliputians from Gravity Falls that Rick seems to love to get drunk and destroy their civilization. It is kind of entertaining watching, like, the 1990s group suddenly get all these robotic advancements and then go bowling in one of these super modern bowling alleys. But of course, then he's seeing that, yeah, Rick's starting to devise, right, go right back to his old self. Reality, I don't think the button does anything. I have to say this episode was, well, pretty good. Not bad. Not the best that Rick and Morty can provide, but still pretty good. Now we got two Rick. Now we have two Rezero episodes to deal with. Subaru on the stairs. That was a huge meme going into the season, especially the happy birthday Daniel. By the way, happy birthday, Daniel. Anybody named Daniel? And let's talk about it. In the first episode, first time Subaru wakes up with losing his memory. And it's kind of interesting how people react. I do love that almost every timeline Amelia goes, and then you see like her hand marks on her face. Basically trying to snap herself into the brand new reality. Although, did anyone notice like how different everyone's reaction was, especially when he saw Julius? Like he's just putting his hand on his face. And when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Don't forget, the only person that remembers Julius is Subaru. And now that his memory is erased, guess what? Julius doesn't really exist anymore. He's just a person taking up space. There's no memory of him. There's nothing. Does he even exist? And then, of course, the time that scene ends with Subaru being pushed off the stairs. And we go to the second timeline with once again he's walks around, basically goes to the entire system again. And whenever for some reason he walks away, and then he hears like the voices of people start basically like everyone basically talking the worst possible things at the time. And of course, he once again looks up to the stairs. He's still about 5 feet away, but then somebody pushes him. A really nice, good push, by the way. And then you just see the one of the most gruesome deaths this season has yet to present. Where you literally see Subaru's body being hurled against the stairs and then basically coming apart before he hits the ground. And then, of course, he panics as he wakes up, slapping Beatrice. I don't know why they had to slap her, but and then he runs up to Reed, who doesn't treat him like nice in the least. Basically stabbing with those chopsticks. Start going after his intestines with the chopsticks before kicking him down the stairs. And then Subaru saying, I will not die, I will not die. And then Satella basically bailing him out. And then Subaru is brought back to where he woke up. And you see and of course you see Rom basically saying like, Rem deserves better. And then of course he walks out of the tower. Now you remember, the episode ends with Shala basically fainting. I wonder what was going to happen, but the next episode does not give us that answer. Yeah, the second episode begins with Subaru outside the tower, falling once again into the bottom rooms, coming up to the tunnel. That's a fork in the road. And for some reason, if you make it right, you become a homicidal maniac wanting to kill anybody you know. I don't know what it about this right tunnel does. You see a wall, and all of a sudden, like your first thought's like, I'm gonna kill everybody. I remember watching YouTube. They might think I'm actually serious, but no, if you walk in the right tunnel of this thing, you just instantly want to kill anybody you know. Then he starts climbing stairs like it shows in the opening credits. Subaru with that psychopathic smile on his face. Then he walks in, and Shala's dead. Yeah, all that build up, and Shala's dead. You think that she might turn into a monster? She might go on a killing rampage? No, she's just dead. And then, of course, Subaru keeps exploring. He sees the bodies of Melee and Julius, as well as on the stairs with Fox Echidna. The only people he didn't see, of course, were Beatrice and Amelia, which made me wonder where they went. We're not going to get an answer for that because Padre comes by. He notices another black smoke coming to kill everybody. That should almost be a trope in this show. Black smoke, for some reason, always seems to come out of nowhere with murderous intent. Sometimes done by Satella, sometimes not. And of course, Subaru gets thrown into the secret passage. And then, of course, finally, for the first time, we hear Rem's voice. Simply saying, maybe next time, hero. At that point, well, gets decapitated. You just see his head falling from the tower. Not the first time we saw Subaru's head being falling off. I think you remember in the Snowball Lagunica episode, where where I say these. I'm sorry, I'm trying to run very blank on the names. So let's just say Subaru gets frozen solid while holding Rem's body, and then his head falls off. And now we come to a new timeline. This time, Subaru simply tries to play it straight. Where, he simply does not tell him that he lost his memory. Or even panics, just to find more information out. And he comes across, well, Julius. And Julius thinks that they're about to talk about, the fact that Subaru has been holding back that Fox Echidna is in charge of Anastasia's body, which, for all intents and purposes, brings shame upon him. And he does not want to seem like a loser in front of Subaru. All this, of course, Subaru doesn't have any memory of this, obviously. Actually enough, though, he employs Shala to basically back him up and hide in a barrel. If anything bad happens, obviously Shala would come and defend him. And it does kind of lead to a really fast, touching moment because Subaru, out of his frustration and just having enough to listen to Shala beg, ends up hugging her. This is a hug that she's waited 400 years for. And then immediately leaves and comes across Melee again. Melee immediately tells him that a couple of simple, nonsensical things, and we black out, even getting the TV barcode again. Only to watch Melee, Subaru come back to consciousness. Melee's dead on the ground. He's trying to resuscitate her, only to realize he already murdered by strangling her to death, like he tried Amelia a little earlier in the episode. So far, we've had 3 deaths in the last 2 episodes. Subaru deaths. That's 6 on the year. If you like Subaru dying, well, this was a great season for you, wasn't it? These episodes were, well, pretty compelling. I have to say this, every time it seems we get the opening song and opening credits, Subaru dies in this season. Doesn't happen all the time, though. 2 very solid Rezero episodes. And must watch. And it makes me wonder what's going to happen in the next one. How will Subaru get out from murdering Melee, right? 3 episodes. Very good. I have nothing bad to really complain about too much. Or the fact that, I guess the Langoliers generally enforce laws only when they feel like it. Well, sorry, only when the writers want them to do it. And Rezero, well, I'm still waiting for the next great episode because these two were very good. Anyway, I just talked your ear off for about 15 minutes. As you know, we're only going to have 3 more Rezero episodes for the year. Actually, sorry, 2. We're only up to episode 11, and that's it. They're taking a break until August. However, we got 8 more Rick and Morty episodes. So I can guarantee we'll have at least 1 more live stream involving Rezero and Rick and Morty. Until then, thank you for listening. Bye.